are things going so far with the offensive line?
Good. We've got some young guys that we're developing right now that are doing a really good job. We're trying to, have the fine line of keeping the veterans healthy, but also getting them work together. So some of them older guys like Beach and Rodney and Pugh, it's been spaced out apart where they get their days off, where they can get their proper rest, but also get their proper work.
Are you concerned with Rodney's knee that could be an issue?
No, we're doing it the right way. We're taking our time with this. I think we learned the hard way last year when he went down. It affected a lot of things due to his leadership, the quality of play that he brings. So we're just trying to be smart about it and make sure that when he does step on the field, he's 100% healthy, and he's really worked hard. He's in good shape, so I feel real good about that, where it's heading.
At this point, do you feel like your starting five, assuming everybody's healthy, is pretty set?
I think our starting five's close to being set. We had an unfortunate setback with Moo. He was having a really good camp and injured his foot. So, he factors into that mix too. We just hope we can get him back healthy. But there's still guys battling for spots. But most of the battles are for backup spots and trying to be that seventh or eighth guy on game day and then making the active rosters. And, again, we get a lot of really good battles at those spots. And I couldn't tell you which one of those guys is going to stand out. It's really going to depend on the preseason games, which I'm looking forward to.
7 or 8 have to be able to play multiple positions, correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we had 14 different lineups last year, so that was proven. And we talk about that from day one. We train these guys at 2 different positions. We train them left and right. So when something like that happens on game day, you're prepared. And these guys do a great job with it.
What are you seeing so far? We've got young guys that are getting older in their career a little bit, so late young. So Josh Jones, Josh Miles, where are they at? And how about the 2 rookies, Lecitus and Kugler?
We'll start with Josh Jones and Josh Miles. So they're both playing tackle. They're both battling to be the swing tackle. DJ's cemented in, and so is Kelvin Beachum. But both those guys are doing a good job. Really excited to get them. They're probably going to get most of the preseason work, and where they're out there on an island by themselves. So looking forward to seeing that. But they're taking progressive steps. I think we got a great mix of old. We got a group of, like Will Hernandez and Josh Miles and Josh Jones, Murray in that medium range, and then we got some young guys. So that's the goal, to get it all like that and then just continue to keep that cycle going. And I think we got that in place.
When it comes to Josh Jones, how did you come to the decision to keep him the tackle and not try the guard thing?
Well, that's his natural position, and last year he was one of our best 5. So, my job as the offensive line coach is to get the best 5 guys on the field. He was out of position at guard last year. I'll be the first to tell you that. He had some ups and downs. He had some good games. He had some rough spots, just like all young players do. But tackle is his natural position, his long term, and he's a future starter here at tackle, and he could start this year. So I feel confident in that. If your third tackle's capable of starting, you got a good third tackle. And Josh Miles is trying to work into that mix too. And he's a guy that was a late round pick, that his development has been slower, but he's really taken strides. And I'm looking forward to seeing him in the preseason too. So I've been pleased with both of those guys.
What does Will bring to the group?
Will brings physicality. He's got a great football temperament. He's a very talented puller. You always talk about pulling the trigger and running through contact. He does that. He tries to run through people. The room loves him. He's got a great demeanor. They've already adopted him. He's a great fit for the room. I have a lot of experience with him. I recruited him when he was 17 years old, and I've known him ever since. And he's a loyal kid. He's a hard-working kid. Nobody's going to outwork him, and he brings a physical play demeanor to that position.
Is he a little nasty to him?
He's got a lot of nasty to him.
How do you kind of assess the backup center position at this point? How Sean has done, whether Lecitus might be able to do that kind of in the long term?
Sean's our backup center, and trying to develop Lecitus at that position. I have no problem if Sean was our starting center. Sean has started for us before at center. He played against Green Bay, against a Pro Bowler, and played outstanding at center. He started for us at guard. So Sean brings a lot of value inside because he can be the starting center if needed be. He could play guard if needed be. So he's a valuable piece. Lecitus never played center, so he's making that transition. Man, he has some days where everything clicks, and then, you'll see a thing like a snap or a false start. He's got a lot of things on his plate, and he's thinking about a lot of things, but he's very smart. He's really an athletic player. He's got great size. He's 315. He's physical. So he has a lot of attributes that, as a coach, you love to have. Like, you can mold it, and he's doing an outstanding job.
Why decide Smith to move him in there if he's never played before?
It's the best fit for his athleticism. I think, ideally, he can play guard too, so he's going to be trained at both, just like Sean is. But he's a guy that, possesses, he can anchor, he can get movement in the run game. He possesses a lot of skills that you look for in the center, and he's very smart. So we were impressed with him during the draft process, how smart he was. And, that's not an easy transition moving from guard to center, but overall, he's handled it very well. And I'm looking forward to seeing him in games.
Sorry, what does Rodney take off Kyler's plate?
Well, they're on the same page. Kyler, until he got sick, he was having an outstanding camp. He's making checks. He's making run checks. He's on it, man. And him and Rodney just work well together. They communicate well together. So, I'm a coach, and I try to keep the entire group together, but there's no value on Rodney going over and talking to the quarterback and telling him what he sees, and those guys getting on the same page, maybe as far as a run check or a protection remike. And they talk all the time, and I throw Colt in that category too. He's just a great communicator, and he's good for Kyler too, because he's always talking to him about protections and, hey, get out of this look, and this is a great box right here. And Rodney's the same thing, so it's kind of like having two extra coaches, but they're out there on the field in the arena. I'm on the sidelines. I do corrections after a series, so they're out there fixing stuff on the spot, and that's invaluable.
What does it mean just in general for a quarterback to have a center who can diagnose, dissect everything as well?
It's money in the bank when you got a center that's as experienced as Rodney. He's seen every look. Nothing really surprises him. He can adapt. He sees something and goes, hey, coach, I think we can do it like this. This might be a better way to get to that linebacker. And I listen to him. I listen to the players, and especially somebody with his experience.